Okay, rightio. So we joined us for like what? I think it's like part 4 now of part 85. And well, if you're caught up to this point, then what's happened so far is that, well, Chris has pretty much um, disclosed to Bella that the only other thing of note is in that call, well, between her and Bella, is that Chris seems to insist that it was Barbara who made the first move, but we'll see about that.
After the call concluded, Bella excitedly informed members of the chess club about Chris's sexual escapades with her mother, Barbara, and shared an edit of the recording with them. She planned to leak the call at a later point, but in the meantime, she schemed to create evidence concerning the recording to keep herself anonymous. On July 28th, she shared a 9-minute edit with the Sutress, who asked Bella to convince Chris to break up with her mother so Chris could instead have a relationship with the Sutress. The Sutress thought that Christine should go to jail for what she did, but nevertheless still wanted to have sex with her at the convention. Also,
I think it's a bit late for that now, huh? Don't you think?
on the 28th, Chris wrote a long string of messages to Bella, recounting her freshly concluded sexual dalliance with her mother of that day. So, yes, Barb and I just had another romp in the hay and an extensive cuddle. Tonight, I started looking into a more consistent pattern to my massaging, and I took the input and focused on getting blood flow into the groin area. Before tonight, I did not really have a set pattern in the massage, aside from feet and legs, followed by hands and arms, the face, front torso, and then a rollover for her back. I have found a more consistent method that works between the legs and arms, but I was inconsistent in the hands and feet.
Oh, and by the way, at this point, in case you're wondering, that this sounds a little bit too insane to be true, Chris doesn't use any ambiguity. Like, usually if Chris would say something like, Sonichu told me that, well, in order to get him turned on, that I had to, well, do such and such with his legs and stuff like that, and massage his quills and stuff like that. But you know what I mean? Like, there's no other ways of looking at it than this, especially with someone who brags that saying that they've been doing this like once every 3 days for the last 2 weeks.
Anyway, also made another attempt at rubbing her vagina, externally at first, then slipping in between the lips and rubbing the inner labia. Then she told me to stop.
And when you say stuff like that, it's when there's no other way of getting around it. Now, I would say at this point, like, once again, because I, thank God, didn't see any of this take place, I can't stand in court and say that, yes, Your Honor, I saw it with my own 2 eyes, when obviously I didn't. By that point, I'm almost glad that I didn't, because, good Lord, you don't go into this much graphic detail if this was untrue, especially when it's concerning your own mother.
She's getting more used to being played with down there by hand. Would you believe she has literally never ever masturbated in her entire life? And obviously those out of the 8 guys, counting Robert Chu, before me were not hitting her G-spot as much with their cocks. I had attempted the first night to rub her in there. I found her spot, but it hurt her. But, alternatively, I did find that at cunnilingus, I was good at it with my tongue, and I
that might be the most disgusting thing I've ever heard in my life. She did cunnilingus on her own mother. I literally want just this nightmare to end.
did also stimulate her clit. That does not seem to hurt her as much, but she still has a limit with that spot as well. Anyway, we're making progress. And when we cuddle, and this actually impresses me more, I literally feel our souls bonding and coming together as one during that time. Damn, it feels so good when that happens. And we talk a good while as well before she heads back upstairs. I have been sending her meditation tracks to stimulate her brain and bring back some of her youth, and the results do show most splendidly. I am so proud of her. And from her stories she told me tonight, she even remembered a fun story that involved her daddy from when she was 2 years old. 2 years old. That in itself.
I find that very hard to believe. Now, again, some lawyer could say that's completely not true, and that sounds very unlikely, and somebody could say that makes Chris's narrative seem a little bit unlikely, especially when Chris starts referencing things like Robert Chew. But no, I still say it's a rather unanimous verdict.
At her age is massively good. She has had memory problems at time beforehand, yes, but she is better stimulated in her mind and soul, and it really shows. Her mental processing speed is even going back up. She feels this and has told me so herself, and I am so happy and content that I am able to help her out like this, and it helps me as well because of the experience and the education and learning. These were also shared with the sutras by Bella.
Yeah.
On July 29th, Chris messaged Bella telling her that she and the sutras were discussing what kind of music they could be playing as they were having sex at the convention, with the sutras noting that she liked alternative music. Later on, the sutras shared the news of the incest with members of Chris Chan-focused Discord server Chris Chan Conservation Collective, and then leaked to member Gunloader420 a 4-minute long edit of the 9-minute edit of the call she had received from Bella, which removed Bella's voice and all personal details pertaining to herself. The sutras then leaked the 9-minute edit to Discord user Lavender Bones. Toward the end of the day, Gunloader420, known as L Dude Rocks on YouTube, uploaded the 4-minute edit onto the site, and within the first hour of July 30th, shared it on the Christian Sonichu subreddit on the site Reddit. At 1:32 a.m. EST, the sutras leaked screenshots of the post-sex texts that Chris had sent to Bella. A furious debate regarding the veracity of the recording and texts erupted on the likes of the Christian subreddit and Kiwi Farms. Many assumed that the audio was a result of taking Chris's recorded conversation snippets out of context and rearranging them to make it appear as if Christine was talking about having sex with Barbara, especially considering that the party she was conversing with had been completely removed from the YouTube upload. However, a few hours after the initial leak, the 9-minute version of the conversation shared by Bella with the sutras, who then shared it with Discord member Lavender Bones, was also uploaded onto YouTube, which contained Bella's side of the conversation, who was at this point still an unknown party to all Christian observers. This initially pissed off Bella, as the sutras shared her voice without permission. At around 8:35 a.m., Quick-centric YouTuber Dylan Thomas shared with Christine the leaked audio, asking.
Oh, by the way, in case you were wondering what was going on, I'm pretty sure July 30th was because it was either like, okay, so here's the thing, it was either, I'm gonna do a little bit of quick maths, because I'm pretty sure July 31st was a Friday and stuff like that, because I remember, I can tell you where I was during when I first heard the news about this. It was literally 5:30 on a Friday, and I was just about I wasn't meant to finish work for another 90 minutes, and then July 31st was, okay, no, one more year out. Okay, there we go. Wow, okay, July 31st was the Saturday, so it must have been the Friday. Okay, well, basically I heard that it was on Friday, July 30th, and I saw on top of Reddit saying about phone call about Chris having sex with Barb, and the thumbnail was, well, what you probably imagine it was, and I was like, what? That can't be right. Then I listened to the call, thought I was going to be sick, and then I was like, oh god, shit has hit the fan big time. And by the time I got to the comment section, there was at least 6 people I saw down below who had disclosed that they had already made calls to the Greene County Sheriff's Department. So, yeah, I was like, oh god, Chris really fucked up.
For an explanation, she verbosely wrote about overcoming drama and bad vibrations, resisting to answer if the allegations were true. Dylan pried for an answer, as he would be called on to speak on the topic in a future video. Chris then admitted that the allegation was true and asked Dylan to not screen cap or share their conversation. Dylan agreed not to screen cap it. He soon after shared screen caps of their conversation with his audience.
I mean, what else did you expect Dylan to do? There was no way that Dylan would ever keep that. For legal reasons, there's no justifiable reason to keep this a secret. Because as far as we're concerned, it's evidence. It's evidence that Chris is absolutely confirming that Chris was having sex with her own mother. There is you can't turn back away from this. This is absolutely the only person I don't think Chris bothered getting in touch with got in touch with Chris was probably Smokey MC, but you know, what do I know?
Still in the morning, Christine posted her tarot card of the day, titled Turning In, reflecting that there was drama in the air that day, and so encouraged everyone to withdraw from gossips, rumors, and whatever else that may come their way. By this point, news of her supposed incest were causing a stir on Twitter, triggering the terms Chris Chan and Chris Chan did what? To trend on the site, briefly overtaking the trending topics representing the international multi-sport event, the Olympic Games, that were at the time taking place in Tokyo, Japan. Null then asked her directly about the situation. Christine complained that she had told that to Bella in the strictest confidence and had asked her not to share it with anyone else. Null asked if Bella was her elderly girlfriend, with Chris clarifying that it was Instagram user and Prater member 10th Anonymous. Null chided that he had told Chris Bella was a troll the first time he was shown her Instagram account. Over on the QB forums, Null suggested that Christine was in fact lying about having sex with Barbara in an effort to cover up the apparently embarrassing fact that she was having sex with an elderly girlfriend. He then shared this information with the QB forums in a dedicated thread, stating that the only other person who had known about it was a certain Bella, a supposed troll persona. Null then asked Chris directly if the allegation was true. Chris responded, "Yes, it is true. The sex was consensual with Barbara." Meanwhile, in private messages to the Sutras, Bella expressed her excitement and joy because, in her words, they broke the internet. The Sutras, on the other hand, remained reserved and anxious, since her aim was to meet Chris, which now seemed unlikely. She said she was scared, possibly of having her identity found out, with Bella reassuring her that she would protect the Sutras because she was anonymous and that the two were quote-unquote the best trolls in history. They also planned to contact Null in order to convince him of falsified information to keep themselves anonymous. Meanwhile, Maker
clearly not gonna happen because
Night V, after a month of no contact, expressed shock at the news, asking Chris if she was actually having sex with her mother. Chris is not believed to have responded. Sometime after 1 p.m. on July 30th, in response to an unquestionably significant flurry of concerned callers, Greene County Police arrived at the Chandler house for a welfare check to confirm the well-being of the residents. The exact details of their examination are unknown, but as a result of their visit, Barbara was taken to a hospital to have her mental and physical condition thoroughly checked, and Chris was served with an Emergency Protective Order, or EPO, meaning that she was not allowed to come within 300 feet of her mother or the house, which was under Barbara's name. The EPO was set to last until August 5th. If the incest was true, Christine would have committed either a misdemeanor or a Class 5 felony in the state of Virginia, depending on the case, which, if convicted, would lead her to serve 1 to 10 years in prison. At the time, it was unknown whether she could also be potentially charged with rape, as Barbara's uncertain mental state could have made her unable to give consent. After Chris vacated the premises, she drove the family van to the house of her Aunt Harriet and Uncle Tom, hoping to find refuge. They were not at home at the time, so she waited in the car. During this moment, the WCT reached out to her, asking to find out more information. Chris regaled him with her tales of turmoil regarding her troubles to find housing for a week, and also her low funds to sustain herself. WCT then asked about the call, and Chris confirmed that it was a video call she had with Bella. She then posited that the recording was leaked by either her roommate or an unnamed 42-year-old male accomplice, a theory posed to Christine by Bella to assuage guilt. WCT then directly asked her if the allegation of her having sex with her mother was true. Christine simply answered, yes. When asked why would she do this, Chris wrote that the love and affection between them was genuine, and that Barbara had made the choice to make the first sexual move in sound mind.
That's another thing, again, Chris is... They would have asked, is that if Chris is sticking to that story that Barbara really did make the first move, well, then if that's true, then why aren't the police serving? Well, unfortunately, it seems that everyone has collectively decided that can't be true, because nobody's really treating that as if the case. But yeah, that's probably how it is.
Body and soul. WCT reminded her that incest was wrong and that she could be found guilty of a felony, but Christine said she had faith she would return to the house safely and without judgment.
Are you without judgment? Are you sure about that? You are having a go there, Chris.
WCT asked about her knowledge of the suitress who was alluded to in the call, and Chris confirmed it was the 19-year-old who was to accompany her at the convention. When the WCT asked her about a certain Discord user who had originally leaked the call, Christine suggested that the account possibly belonged to Bella's 42-year-old male accomplice, when in fact it belonged to the suitress, and neither Chris nor WCT knew it. WCT was instructed to delete the messages concerning her confessions of incest, but he managed to screenshot them before he did so. Chris then returned one last time to the Knights of Quick Discord server to post her PayPal account, asking its members for donations of preferably over $100 for accommodation. Soon after, to another Discord user, the WCT boasted that he would be featured in the Chris Chan, a comprehensive history YouTube series, as one of the final protagonists, seemingly presenting this as fact without prompt or added context.
Yeah, well, how well is that working out for your WCT? We will get to what happened to Bella, later on, but what happened to WCT either? Because there's no way he can be considered a figure looking up to and all this. I don't believe that for a second.
After sharing the recent information with the Knights of Quick, WCT learned from Anaxas and others that the original Discord leaker of the recording was indeed the suitress. He then direct messaged Bella, asking her to explain herself. She continually placed the blame on ones Avery Oswald and Tenery Merck, two unrelated figures who, according to her, worked for Chris's internet service provider and had hacked Chris's modem and leaked the call. Bella could not explain their motives for allegedly hacking Chris's modem and insisted that WCT disavow her for committing the crime. The two names she had given belonged to a member of the chess club and a student of Texas Tech University.
Congratulations. Well, that just about says it all, doesn't it? And we will get to Bella's, abuse of animals later in this, but Bella is also just trying to drop two people completely innocent into this, which, well... why Bella didn't just just run away from all of this, I couldn't tell you.
Neither of whom had any involvement in the affair. After these direct messages, the WCT created the Discord server regarding Chris and invited Bella and select trusted members of the Knights of Quick, who would interrogate her in an attempt to get to the truth. She kept laying the blame on Avery Oswald and Tenery Merck, and when shown a photo of the suitress to confirm if it was the same woman being talked about in the recording, Bella denied it, and claimed that the woman mentioned in the call was a girl under the age of consent. Bella further spread lies by stating Christine would restrict Barbara from eating unless she performed fellatio on Chris, and that Chris would cause her mother to scream in pain from being penetrated simultaneously by 3 vibrators. Bella also began spreading the rumor that the two experimented with bondage play. She then changed her story and tried to convince the others that it was the suitress's voice in the call recording and not her own, going against what Chris had revealed to both Null and WCT. Bella then asked the others if anyone knew Gino Samuel, for she wished to be excluded from the Chris Chan, a comprehensive history documentary series. WCT replied that he knew the YouTuber and would inform him of the situation. Meanwhile, when asked about Christine, organizers of the Ever Free Northwest convention stated that their policy was to ensure the safety and comfort for all attendees, refraining from referring to Chris directly, as was against their policy. Chris later confirmed to the Knights of Quick that she did indeed get silently blacklisted from the convention and her pass revoked. In addition, when Christine's Aunt Harriet and Uncle Tom learned of her situation, they allegedly told the police that she was not allowed to come to their house. Chris thus took Null's advice and spent that night in the back of her van. Null also privately criticized.
Now, I do want to cover a little bit more about this when I come to talking about the live stream that Null had about the last interactions with Chris. But apparently, the discourse surrounding Uncle Tom and Harriet and Auntie Harriet, apparently, because I don't exactly know how EPOs work in the state of Virginia, but either Chris had misunderstood so that she couldn't come within family relatives or within the property, or what is probably more likely is that Tom and Harriet heard somehow what exactly Chris had been arrested for, or rather what the EPO was about, and they didn't want her to be on their property. That's I'm probably going with that because, let's face it, Alan probably wouldn't have anything to do with Chris. Alan is he is an opticianist, and there's also Bob's daughter as well, who I don't think she would have wanted Chris either. Was she called Lisa? I honestly can't remember. It's been a bit of a while since we've done the old Chandler family tree. And certainly Cole Smithy is well out of the question.
Criticized Chris further for continuing to chat casually with Bella after confessing a crime to her, which resulted in Chris getting kicked out of her own house, with the looming possibility of criminal charges being pressed. Christine replied that she was spiritually guided and sound of mind.
No, you are
Noel
not.
responded, "I really don't think you will ever get it. It's probably too late now anyways." That night, Chris slept for a total of an hour and a half. On July 31st, 38 minutes past midnight, Null received a notification from Chris's email account to which he had access, noting that Christine had seemingly been sent $750 to her bank account from Barbara Chandler's bank account. At around 6 in the morning, Null asked Chris if she had asked her mother to send money, concerned that that was probably in violation of the emergency protective order. Chris denied contacting her. When further prodded, she wrote that Barbara did not send her any money and had instead found some extra funds in minimal abundance.
I managed to find blessings in the minimum abundance I needed. So, Chris couldn't even spend 90 minutes without causing more problems because, yes, that it could be it's outside of violation. It's technically considered theft if Chris did this without Barbara's consent.
Null then shared a
In fact, it is absolutely without consent. So yes, it is theft.
Screenshot of the email Chris's account received, asking her if she had access to Barbara's bank account. Christine wrote that she did have control over her bank account, writing that the $750 was withdrawn to herself for an emergency, and that she would return it once she got another payment from an unmentioned source of $1,000 in her account. Null confirmed for himself that this constituted as stealing from the alleged abused party, which violated the EPO, and then blocked Christine and notified relevant authorities. He declared on Kiwi Farms that he was done helping Chris once and for all.
You know what I actually kind of feel almost a bit sad for about all of this is that let's think about this seriously. You remember back in part 39 when Chris burnt her house down, and Noel put together a care package, including a $500 cash check and a really nicely written letter telling Chris to keep her chin up and everything was going to be okay, just as long as you stay positive and strong, because you can actually still do quite a lot in this world. And the very first thing Chris did was immediately reply saying that there was a problem with the check and that she was angry and to do something about it. Noel still went out and tried to address the issue, and Chris only afterwards then apologized. Honestly, and that's kind of been a little bit of a thing about this, is that Noel tried as hard as he might, was always going to be shut down because Chris couldn't do the right thing and just think before she acted. But there is, of course, a revelation about all this when Chris was asleep. Is that apparently No got some more messages from Chris about saying that no, it's okay. It was a misunderstanding. Bella came forward and said that the trolls that they hacked the modem, and that's how the call got leaked. And actually, to quote the live stream a little bit, and because No sat there at 3 a.m., he claimed to be absolutely exhausted from dealing with this, and No had just to say is that this guy has learned not a single fucking thing in 15 years. He hasn't learned a goddamn thing. Like, the call is worth, it's worth just doing a video about that live stream because, well, listen, I'm not saying Noel is perfect or anything like that, but considering that, well, he tried. He tried as hard as he might to try and, just to give Chris the slight benefit of the doubt, but obviously this was just going too far. And again, to the way that Noel put it, saying you understand does not work when you immediately disassociate from my good advice and start listening to Bella. It's probably too late now anyways. Anyway, let's keep going. He kind of looks like me somehow, for some reason.
Later on, Christine told the WCT over Discord that she had found herself a hotel to stay at for $56 per night. WCT agreed with Null's remarks regarding Bella that Chris trusted women too much. Chris then complained that the hotel became a necessity since Aunt Harriet and Uncle Tom, apparently the only relatives who could have helped her, became frightened by her and had refused to assist her. In addition, she revealed the police were yet to bring Barbara back home, as she was still being kept at the UVA hospital. Chris claimed to have left for hospital staff a scary voicemail message, since her mother had to go back home to tend to their dog Clover and a bunch of cats and kittens. She later confirmed that their animals were brought to the care of neighbors for the time being. The WCT told
there we are, rescued at long last. Free from 14 Branch Lane Court. Goodness knows what they must have thought about Clover, or whether or not Clover literally barked his absolute lungs out the second people were coming to rescue her. Or him, I forget which one.
Told her that if she were to be confronted by the authorities, she should cooperate with them. Twitter, Reddit, and other internet communities continued to discuss the Chris Chan incest situation, with game creator Edmund McMillan taking notice, revealing to his fans that he planned to replace the artwork Chris had made for his The Binding of Isaac for Souls card game. Null then updated the GoFundMe page to tell donors that Christine had confessed to a then yet unknown party of aggressive sexual behavior towards her mother, and was served with a week-long EPO. Since convention organizers revoked her ticket, Null wrote to her donors that the fundraiser no longer served a legitimate purpose, and made the decision to refund all donators. He expressed his initial satisfaction with her work ethic at fulfilling commissions, leading him to believe she would be able to sustain herself solely from her work. But the incest revelation left him questioning that scheme. He expressed further his thoughts on the subject on his live stream show, Mad at the Internet.
So both of them, technically, if this is true, could go to jail for a year, right? So that's problem A for Chris. Problem B is that a lot of what I would have in mind for him, if he was willing to do the work that I give him, if I set up like a thing where people could buy commissions and shout-outs from him, and have that as a sustainable way for him to stay out of homelessness after Barb dies. But Chris, I know, has $40,000 in unsecured consumer debt. I know that the house has at different times had 2 mortgages on it. So that's a fucking issue. If she dies and this mortgage is untenable, she has 2 mortgages, and it's like, okay, well, you have to declare bankruptcy and you're going to be homeless now, Chris. Sorry. So my plan was set up this thing, right, where Chris can make money doing things that people are willing to pay him for. Very obviously willing to pay him hundreds of dollars for shout outs, for podcast appearances, for drawings, for different commissions. Like, they are very willing to throw money at Chris for these novelties. That's jeopardized if he's a motherfucker. Right? I mean, here's, in my head, the way I see this, I just imagine like a mugshot of Chris with like the name Christine Weston Chandler Sonichu as like the inmate name, and then below it says crime, and then it says like incest. And I just imagine that mugshot picture being shared on like social media by normies. Like, no matter what happens, I'm gonna continue to set that up. The only way that I will completely like say, no, Chris, I'm not gonna help you anymore, is if he doesn't do what I asked him to do. In his defense, I've never asked him not to fuck his mother, so he hasn't betrayed my trust in that concept. But I will make it clear to him that he should not fuck his mother, and if he has fucked his mother, he should no longer fuck his mother. I will lay that out on the table crystal fucking clear, and if there's any more mother fornication happening, I will have to distance myself from Chris at this point. I will leave it up to the imagination of you, the audience, the people listening to this on the inevitable Geno Samuel documentary, episode 246, that this will be featured in, if they actually believe that Chris fucked his mother. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Well, I mean, what at this point, like, again, what, I don't even know what I'm meant to add to that. Yeah, again, Chris knows better than to know this is a bad idea, but Chris still went ahead and did it anyway for whatever reason. Chris talked about, not being judged with those labelings and stuff like that. Well, how well is that working out for you, Chris? Not well in the slightest. That's how much. Right, okay, now we're back again for like part 5 of this, and again, it's become a bit of a fashion that I have to like break this up into like segments and do this one step at a time.
All the while in the Regarding Chris Discord server, Bella continued to spread misinformation to her interviewers by showcasing to them fabricated screenshots of texts Chris had allegedly sent her, which concerned tying Barbara up with rope and penetrating her, which made her neigh like a horse. As other members of the chat expressed their shock and disgust, Bella encouraged the WCT to share the screen caps in the dedicated thread on Kiwi Farms for updates regarding the incest revelation. After WCT did so, numerous forum members doubted the validity of the texts and asked for a source. WCT told Inquisitors that the source was reliable, sharing a few of Bella's Discord messages with her profile censored. Over Discord, Bella told WCT that the Sutras also possessed the screenshots, and to satisfy her request of remaining anonymous, the WCT returned to the forums to write that it was actually the Sutras who was the source of the texts, revealing her first name and sharing a video of her dancing while wearing a red striped shirt and a Sonichu medallion. Bella then joined the thread discussion herself with her 10anon account, falsely telling others that Bella was her pseudonym and that she was actually a man. She also insulted anyone who questioned the leaked texts, emphasizing that Chris was a horrible person. Bella proceeded to gain access to the Kiwi Farms account of chess club member Lewis, who went by the account name Ternary Mercury, and used it to repost and validate the falsified text messages. Forums users largely did not believe the new account and assumed that Ternary Mercury and 10anon were the same person. The thread discussing the incest was then temporarily locked due to the spread of misinformation and arguments. It was reopened after Null banned 10anon. Kiwi Farms image analysts later confirmed the bondage text to have been faked. By the end of that day, many Christian followers, such as Writers for Quick and Helena G. Fiorenza, expressed their shock at the news on Twitter, with some, like Helena, seemingly completely severing their connection to Chris. Casual bystanders also argued whether one should refer to Christine as a male rather than a female, considering the heinous act she had done. Over on Reddit, Jacob Sockness wrote that he would not help Chris, and upon learning of what transpired, was glad that he had cancelled his plans to move to Charlottesville, since he thought he would have been used by Barbara as a sex toy.
I was almost going to congratulate Jacob, by the way, for severing ties, but then he comes out with this. Great.
Numerous online articles were also published, briefly going over Chris Chan's history and presenting the current situation as Christine raping her elderly mother, who suffered with dementia. As scheduled, at 6 p.m. EST, Gino Samuel 2.1 released Chris Chan, A Comprehensive History, Part 59 on YouTube. A couple of hours later, he launched a livestream in which he announced he would be taking a break from the series until early 2022. So I was going to go on break after Part 60, which would be up.
Again, we have gone through the looking glass now when Gino Samuel is not only referencing himself but also showing a video of himself in his own documentary series about Chris, which, yeah, what a time to be alive, huh? You know, cinema.
Uploaded later this month. That's not going to happen. I felt that I could still keep going and upload 60 and then go on a break, but upon reassessing this situation at the moment, I feel be a bit too advantageous and taking advantage of a very disgusting situation that's currently still being developed by making more Christian content. So I want to wait until this kind of dies down a little bit more, so we have a better idea of what has happened. And then I'll come back in 2022 with Part 60. In another YouTube livestream, noted lolcow King Cobra JFS made his thoughts known about the situation.
Fuck Chris Chan, that nasty ass motherfucker. And I mean that quite literally, because he really is a motherfucker. Like, Jesus Christ, YouTube, I'm over it.
People suck, I need a beer. Me too, Cobra, me too.
People suck, I need a beer.
That evening, Reddit user Chris is a Man posted a photo of the Chandler's Dodge Caravan in the parking lot of the Regency Inn in Richmond, Virginia, confirming where Chris was staying that night. The hotel happened to be across the street from Regency Square Shopping Mall, where Chris, as a child, met Leonard Bearstein, the animatronic conductor, who briefly chatted with the boy and misinterpreted his name as Christian, an encounter which led him to legally change his name to Christian.
We really have come full circle, haven't we?
In the early hours of August 1st, news of Christine's location spread throughout interested online circles. At 2:20 a.m., an individual voice recorded himself calling Regency Inn staff about Christine.
Thank you for choosing Regency Inn. How may I help you?
Hi, I recently arrived in Richmond, and I was wondering if there are any beds.
No, we're all booked.
Do you guys know that a guy who raped his mother is in there?
I'm speaking with the police right now.
So you're speaking with the police right now? That is good.
I was just on the phone with them.
Very good. Well, okay then.
Another Reddit user then also traveled to the hotel to take photos of Chris's car and of the hotel. Many more arrived to park by the hotel by the morning in the hopes of witnessing her. One such individual recorded Christine leaving her room on the second floor.
Oh my God. Dude. Wait.
He also noted that there were police officers in the area, though they were unsure if the presence was because of her. Christine was then followed by car and photographed walking in the direction of Regency Square. Null then shared on the forums a notification he received from Chris's bank, informing him that her bank balance was down to $1.03, 2 days after stealing $750 from Barbara. Null informed forum members that her bank balance had been negative $200 before withdrawing the amount from her mother's account, and that $383.89 had been paid to the Regency Inn, possibly paying for her stay up to August 5th, which then left her to spend nearly all of the remaining $168, presumably on supplies, in Regency Square. Meanwhile, lolcow and convicted felon Ethan Ralph, host of controversial podcast Killstream, accompanied by his partner, was livestreaming himself driving to the hotel, where he hoped to interview Christine and try to convince her to tell him that she had been manipulated by Null to rape her mother, as Ralph had a long-standing hatred of Null and QB Farms because they kept a record of his misdeeds and made fun of him. When they got to
I mean, understandable, I suppose, but that doesn't... Maybe one of these days I'll do some videos about Eve and Ralph as well.
the hotel, they knocked on every door of the second floor, since Chris was seen leaving from there, but got no answer. Ralph and Co. then went to Regency Square, under the belief that Chris may have been shopping or ambling there, but did not find her there either. Ralph was then informed that police arrived at the hotel, and so made a return in time to livestream police officers arresting her and placing her into a police car. Other observers also video recorded the event.
Yeah, they're arresting Chris Chan here at the hotel. Chris Chan, what's up? Kill stream, baby! When you get out, let's do the kill stream! Look me up!
Chris, as it turns out, would not do a kill stream with Eve and Ralph.
You're beautiful.
Look up Ethan Ralph, kill stream! I live here in Richmond, buddy.
I like this poor guy here who's just trying to get back to his room.
Go to church.
You better hurry, Jesse, you're missing out.
Google Chris Chat or size you with. There you go. Not going, not flying.
Is the car alive?
Flying. I am good
Is
like
the car
this.
I think so. Yeah, you appear to be compliant.
Chris Chat side you, your goddess blue heart, and I continue to stand strong, and I maintain everything with quick fill in my side shoes and nose shoes and everybody.
Yeah, you're live to about 3,000 people right now, Christian. You're taking everything in stride. You said you're doing good?
Yeah, I keep it good faith. Everything is going to work out.
Doing good, feeling good?
Well,
How's the last few days been? I know it's been pretty stressful.
it's been stressful, but I've taken it one moment at a time, and I got my loves.
Well, that's good.
Josh Moon, did you dirty?
Oh, well, just the one thing. That's a kid. Feel free, just go ahead and take it. I just a picture of muffins from My Little Pony.
Love quest is over, Chris.
And please, I would like that for my collection.
What's up, Jesse?
Go ahead, frisk me.
Don't frisk him, and Chris looks like she's enjoying this. You should be enjoying this, Chris. You don't. Again, I don't think. Do you really think Chris knows what's going on? Do you think Chris thinks this is funny, doesn't she? That might be the true cause of this.
Christine, this man does want to help you.
Yeah, we were trying to get you on the show, but look, when you get out, look me up. Killstream. I don't know if you know who I am or not.
We're here to help you.
We saw what Josh was doing to you, so we wanted to come try to talk to you.
Do you have anything else on you?
I have nothing else on me. I have no weed. I have no drugs. I'm just sleeping on me. Like I said, frisk me. There you go. That felt good.
Let's have a seat. Christine, is the merge coming?
All right,
It's happening now. We're on the very
the
last
merge.
thread.
It's happening right now, isn't it?
Right now, it is.
We're living it.
It's happening right now.
Hero.
Farewell, Chris Chan.
The dimensional merge is happening right now. August 1st.
Well, there goes Chris Chan into the Henrico County deputy's car here.
Let the boulder hit you.
I don't think they've had an arrest like this.
No, I don't think so.
Goodbye, Chris. Wherever your next journey takes you. We love you, Chris.
Now, I would say, like, even at that point, that should be it. That should be the end of it. But guess what, guys? It is not. It's surprisingly, that's not the end of the story. Oh no. There's still a little bit more to cover. And again, whether or not you think Chris really knew what was going on, or... No, actually, no, I take that back. Chris knew exactly what she was doing. She stole money from her mother, and, well, I just don't think Chris cared anymore, to be honest, because, as Noel previously stated, Chris is malicious. Chris knows fine well doing these things are wrong, but guess what? She just doesn't care, because as long as she gets away with it, that is literally all that matters. Well, Look at where that got you, Chris. You obviously didn't get away with it, did you? No, you didn't. Okay, so as I said before, you would have thought that Chris being arrested and being taken away by the Henrico Police Department of Virginia, you would have thought that is where this should end, but it doesn't, because now we're going to see what else fell out of favor as well, so here it is.
At 8:23 p.m., Christine was booked in Henrico County Jail West without bond. On August 2nd, Chris's Patreon account was suspended for potential violations of the site's community guidelines. Also on that day, Greene County Sheriff's Office's Facebook page issued a statement regarding Christine Weston Chandler's arrest for crimes of incest, while additional charges were pending, remarking that she had been transferred to the Central Virginia Regional Jail. Chris was notably referred to by male pronouns. She was soon after acknowledged as female and placed alongside female jailmates, possibly based on the gender listed on her driver's license, as seen from her initial custody record. However, she was soon transferred to the male population of the jail. News sites, both statewide and internationally, published articles concerning Chris and her charge of incest. The story was soon covered by Fox News anchor Tucker Carlson in a short segment, erroneously believing Christine's legal name was Chris Chan.
A YouTube personality called Chris Chan has just been arrested in Virginia on a...
Always is kind of interesting with like larger news outlets, they do start talking about people like Chris, and well, I can't blame Tucker, but they probably should have passed on that, you know, it's a little bit more than this. Oh well.
Of all things, incest charges. Authorities say Chan was having sex with his 79-year-old mother who has dementia. Chris Chan is a biological man, but he identifies as a woman. Reportedly, Virginia authorities initially went along with that. They classified Chris Chan as a female, and that means Chris Chan, who is an accused sex criminal, would have been housed in a women's jail. We understand that decision has been reversed, likely due to public pressure. It became public, unfortunately, for the state of Virginia, and Chan is now being considered a man by the jail.
Now, again, whether you want to think the politics of this is good or, well, whether you want to say there would have been backlash, it's a bit hard to say, because let's face it, Chris is not exactly your bog standard criminal. Let's face it, but I think that's more up to the authorities than to us, I suppose. We are not a mob.
Meanwhile, as pressure and suspicion against the Kiwi Farms user 10 Anong grew, Bella deleted her 10th Anonymous Instagram account. The 10th Anonymous username led Kiwi Farms investigators into tracking down Reddit user CarelessMetal423, who had used 10th Anonymous as an alias, and had shared on Reddit a YouTube animation video which belonged to the channel Kelly Osbourne. The Kelly Osbourne channel also contained a longer video that included the suspected Kelly's voice, which many Kiwi Farms users declared sounded like the same person as on the incest call recording.
Oh look, the talentless blue Pokemon wants to end this in peace. You're a retarded faggot that has no friends, and you're so ugly, noob, lol.
A Kelly Osbourne Twitter account was also found, which followed short-time Chris Chan troll Larry Vaughn, and had also once tweeted at Christine. The connection between Kelly and 10th Anonymous was further confirmed, as both the defunct Instagram account and Kelly's Twitter account shared the same profile image. On Reddit, CarelessMetal423 had posted in the subreddit for Texas Tech University, writing that she was a student there. The account had also posted a video of herself seemingly rescuing a stray dog, showing a fairly clear view of her appearance.
He's not cold, he's sugar.
Well, yeah, we're warming up.
Yeah. I know, I'm not a dog person, but you're blocking my way out. So I'm going to grab you by the throat again. I'm sorry.
Bella, using several other accounts, began messaging Kiwi Farms users who were investigating her and posting her information, writing that they allegedly got all the info wrong. She then wrote that she recorded the incest call while her supposed accomplice, Billy, was the one conversing with Chris. To further obfuscate the truth, Bella posted on 4chan, sharing the sutress's photo, labeling her as Chris Chan's girlfriend, real name Kelly Osbourne. She added that 10th Anonymous, alias Bella, was one Billy Sawyer from the state of Michigan. On August 2nd, the supposed Bella emailed Gino Samuel regarding her eventual appearance in the documentary series. Gino replied that he could not reply as he was currently on sabbatical from the documentary until February 2022, instead suggesting that she contact Quick-centric YouTuber Gibby for a more fruitful discussion. A day later, Gibby uploaded a YouTube video regarding the incest leaking based on conversations held with Bella herself, who also provided for him exclusive screenshots for the upload. One such chat screen cap was between herself and the Sutras, which Gibby shared without censoring the Sutras' phone number. He also stated Bella's deceptive claims that the Sutras was the Kelly Osbourne alias currently being sought after by Kiwi Farms. Gibby soon after deleted the video and re-uploaded a new version with added information gathered from Kiwi Farms, while still failing to censor the Sutras' contact details. This too was soon deleted, which he promised to modify and re-upload again, but by this point, new information had come to light, and this particular video was left offline. Over private messaging on Kiwi Farms, Gibby wrote that he was distrusting of Bella and her claims, and felt she might have been trying to frame someone else. The Sutras reportedly then had her internet privileges revoked and possibly taken to psychiatric inpatient care. Regarding Kelly Osbourne, Kiwi Farms members found one of her closest friends' personal identity by identifying the dog on his brother's Facebook profile as the same dog that was rescued by the so-called Kelly. The friend's Facebook interests included Chris Chan. The friend was then tied to the Ternary Mercury Kiwi Farms and YouTube accounts, meaning that this was Lewis from the chess club. Based on Kelly Osbourne's Twitter profile describing herself as a coder/cryptography major, the Reddit account Nobody's Business 77897 was found, who had posted a photo of herself on the subreddit Roast Me, which called on posters to post photos of themselves so others would insult them. Nobody's Business described herself as a lonely 4chan dweller in college for computer engineering, and her physical appearance matched that of Kelly Osbourne rescuing the dog. The Reddit account was soon after apparently suspended. An archive of the account found that she had also posted on the Texas Tech subreddit. She had also posted on the Roast Me subreddit a photo of her friend, who matched the known appearance of Ternary Mercury, or Lewis, who held up a piece of paper declaring himself as Reddit user Turner Merc. Another 2-year-old Roast Me post by Bella was uncovered, in which she held the traditional piece of paper with the subreddit's name. The paper's reverse side revealed the printed text, Gator Break Pass, dated in 2019. A 2-year-old comment found Bella telling another user that she lived in Fulton, Maryland. The gator was the mascot of Reservoir High School in Fulton, Maryland. Wow. Judging from the dates of her posts, Kiwi Farms users deduced that Bella/Kelly Osbourne had graduated from the high school in 2019. Looking through the Reservoir High School graduation ceremony video on YouTube, she was eventually found among the long list of graduates, revealing her true name.
Isabella Loretta Janke.
Oh god, well...
From this revelation, 4 members uncovered her past and present home addresses and her parents' phone numbers. In the days that followed, it was learned from evidence brought by and retrieved from her friends and accomplices that she had a past history of allegedly sexually assaulting women, confessed sexual arousal attained from men petting cats and cats themselves, and allegedly abusing and overfeeding her cat. There are conflicting reports that Bella may have neglected and mistreated the dog she had rescued, which led to its death. She also claimed to have caused the deaths of at least 8 hamsters, including at least one instance of allegedly cooking a hamster and eating it together with Lewis. Bella admitted to wanting to rape the aforementioned hamster and seemingly shared a video over Discord of the hamster being boiled alive in a pot. Kiwi Farms investigators also uncovered a local news report from December 2019 about a live hamster that was thrown out together with the trash on the campus grounds of Texas Tech University, suspecting this was Bella's doing. Bella also documented herself causing property damage and framing others to pay for maintenance, electrocuting herself with a taser for a video, and admitting to tasing a fellow student she had just met, producing a plethora of drawn pornography, including scenes depicting gore, incest, and children, and allegedly collecting child pornography for her own use and for reselling.
Okay, so I had to censor that part out because there's absolutely no way in hell that this video was mind you, considering this got put up onto YouTube. Then again, basically CP is what they're talking about, and Bella I thought was fucked up before, but this goes so far beyond. Like, she is an absolute monster. Like, what the fuck?
She also had a self-documented history of fecal incontinence and shitting on the floor. In the days following Christine's arrest, she attempted through numerous means to dispel the truth, but ultimately failed. Bella was sometime after allegedly suspended from Texas Tech University for 2 years for unspecified reasons, and allegedly relocated to New Mexico, functioning under a new identity, Maxine Sidero, which suddenly appeared on Instagram and Facebook. Despite her slightly altered and possibly photoshopped online appearance, the profiles of Maxine were linked conclusively to Bella, as the quote-unquote Maxine had shared a photo of a pet pig, which matched the likeness of Bella's mother's pet pig. Furthermore, her new Instagram account was friends with Lewis, and had posted photos with another member of the chess club. After the events of August 2021, Bella's online and in-person activities largely went unnoticed. As for Christine, she remained in jail, seemingly under the belief that her actions would bring no long-term repercussions, and that her confinement was a result of a momentous misunderstanding. Whatever historic event she thought would come about during the Dimension merge was seemingly taking place. A perverted expression of affection brought about by the burning of sexual frustration. This turn of events propelled her to a level of attention never before experienced, further adding to her sense of importance and self-grandiosity. Much of Chris's belief that her life in particular was one of great significance no doubt was an effort 15 years in the making, as online observers continually followed and notated his activities in the most excruciating detail possible, striving to complete a complete record of this particular person's life, turning, in the grand scheme of things, an insignificant and ill-functioning individual into an icon of significance, all compelled to contribute in the name of Christory, an unexplainable desire to document Chris Chan and study the minutiae of her life. Some Christorians are compelled to spread the word, believing it is a life story meant to be heard, a lesson in all that can go wrong in a life, the practice of which only leads more and more people to discover her and embrace Christory, adding to the ever-increasing record of her infamous life. Some not only seek her out, but also inject themselves into Christory as a means to attain a semblance of notoriety, or to help a pitiful soul who, more often than not, would reject thoughtful, well-meaning efforts in favor of accepting words of false praise from the apparent masses. With an international, ever-present following like hers, it is not hard to understand that Christine would feel she was of great importance to the world. At this point in her life, no matter how hard Christine Weston Chandler's body would get beaten, there was no overthrowing the mind of Christine, the goddess.
End of season 1, they call it. How exactly you can create maybe a season 2 is still... It's, well, would there ever be a season 2? I severely doubt it. In fact, I would say if Gino never came back and never did part 86 or did anything beyond this, to be honest, I think Gino... I would say... And here's the thing. Gino, I would say Gino Samuels, I think what will happen from here is that Gino Samuel will sort of has already moved on to like brighter and greener pastures and is actually doing a fantastic job doing other documentary style videos. And, well, I don't think there's any doubt that, well, we could have asked for anything more from Gino because Gino's contributions is nothing short of spectacular. He is the true neutral of the entire story when you think about it. He's somebody who doesn't like spin Chris in any way. Gino is just the guy, if you will, of all guys. And I can't believe it, guys, but so bear in mind that no. Honestly, that's her problem, not mine. Right. Anyway, so where was I? So in terms of like, I'm gonna use and I'll just summarize this video by just saying this. Wow. In fact, I can't believe it. Here we've finally done it, guys. The end of Christory, the end of a 5-year-long journey, the end of the cycle is finally complete. We have come full circle, and well, here we are, the end of part 85. So, what exactly? Because here's the thing: even though this is technically the end of Gino Samuel's landmark series, it's not technically the end of Chris, as I'm sure you guys all know. And I'm just going to summarize this video by just putting a little bow on it, and basically by saying, I'm going to give this a week. But a week from this video going out, I will get the fan-made part 86 out. In fact, by the time this video goes out, I would have probably emailed Gino Samuel asking if he wants to see a copy of it. And, well, time will certainly tell as to what, if Gino has like any opinion about it whatsoever. Maybe he won't be interested, which fair enough. I would not be disappointed. Well, I wouldn't be surprised either if Gino didn't want to see it. It's entirely, the ball is in his court. If any of you guys possibly want to see it as like a test run, then hit me up and stuff like that, and we'll see what we can do. But well, I wonder what it's like actually when you've finally got all caught up on a long running series like this, and you're wondering what exactly you're supposed to say, what exactly you're supposed to do, and is there any appropriate way of, well, seeing you guys out, because this series has been nothing short of distressing, it's been nothing short of upsetting, it's been relatively educational, but I would say it is also an absolute sea of madness. It is about... In fact, you know what? I've got a better idea. We're going to end this video out by doing actually something a bit more appropriate, I guess. Oh, I don't want to do that. There we are. So, I wonder what is like the most appropriate way of saying goodbye to each and every one of you. Because in many ways, you guys have been just as much a part of this story as I have. I started doing like reactions to this series all the way back in about at least this time, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, the day of my mother's 62nd birthday. And here we are at the quote-unquote end of the road, if you will. And the only way I could actually like put it into words about how kind of somber this whole journey is by putting berserk music on in the background. I don't know why, but it feels like the single most appropriate thing I could have done, if there is such an appropriate way to do anything in this world. And now that we are sort of just at the real end of the road, well, yeah, that's the shocking thing about this, is that this may not technically be the end of the story, but it's certainly an end of sorts, because I don't really know what... Is there a moral to this story? Is there a right or a wrong? Is there a hero? Is there a villain? Are there protagonists? Or is there nothing to be learned from this story? You know what, if there's one thing I can possibly say from this story is that, well, I used to have, I was very skeptical about whether or not there really was a god on this earth, guys, or even above the earth. But after watching all of this, and even seeing this all take place all the way back in 2021, I found out something very, very important. If there is a god, he's probably dead. And if God isn't dead, then he's probably buggered off to some other universe, because God Almighty, he probably should have started afresh and just left this one for the jackals and for the flat earth conspiracy theorists. So, well, that's it. Well, and, well, I guess that's, well, just about says that. And that leaves me with not much else to say apart from, well, goodbye.